a very, very important topic to talk about the transition to a more renewable, sustainable energy. I'm pleased to be joined by Jochen Hauff. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
I've mentioned also that you discuss very much about this topic, and you also are a faculty member in a university in Switzerland. I want to understand how, when you talk about these things, how does this work together? How do you ensure that your business practices are aligned with like human rights, with social inclusion, with fair energy, that everybody has good working conditions, that everybody's treated equally? How can this happen?
Right. It's a challenging overall complex problem, of course, and the answer is as always multi-layered. So there are what we can do, and I'm in my breadwinning job. I'm director of strategy, energy policy, and sustainability for BayWa RE, a developer. So we build these things. We build solar parks, we build wind parks, we build solar rooftop systems, batteries, and so on. And there we have very much the project level perspective, where all these attributes that you mentioned, of being fair, being sure that human rights are respected and so on, have a very practical implication in a construction site and a project. And at the same time, on the strategic level, also in my role at Solar Power Europe, we need to show that we as a sector and we as a company at large are respecting these values and are putting governance structures, putting measures in place that make sure we comply with this, and that are also in the political debate sure that we can actually create the transparency we need, for example, if it comes to human rights abuses and so on in the supply chain, to actually know whether the stuff that we use to build projects has been produced in a fair and also from a human rights perspective sustainable manner. So there's no one single answer. We have to work on all of these levels where we are active, and that's exactly also, one of the key challenges then to bring it all together, because it's a complex matter.
You said it's very complex. At the same time, you have to communicate with people, you have to convince people, you have to talk with stakeholders about why you believe in the things that you believe. So how does that work? How do you communicate these things?
Let me start with the project level, right? So if we develop a solar project, and we're active in 30 countries in the world, so we are, and we're building wind or we're building solar, right? And so what a society accepts, or what is just and fair in a given country, differs. Obviously, it's different whether we are in Nevada or whether we're in Germany or whether we are in Africa. And what the concerns of people and what they are, the communities locally, what they care about and what they are concerned about, very much is different. Usage of space is not really an issue in Nevada, where it is a huge issue here, right? Displacing agriculture doesn't appear in Nevada, but it might be a key concern in an African location. So we have to really also adjust, obviously, and so there is no simple answer. It's project specific. Every project has to earn its right to be built, earn the right to be permitted, in a dialogue with our stakeholders on the local level, with the community. So we are engaging with mayors, with city councils, town councils, rural stakeholders, as well as we do with permitting agencies or governmental support programs, right? And this is a very diligent and deliberate effort. For every project, it's different. And that's where, if we then look what we just heard about the Just Energy Transition Program between countries, where heads of states, ministers, and so on agree on paths forward, this is 15 levels removed from where we actually built these projects, right? And I think that's a big challenge. I think also for the policymakers to make sure that their well-intended efforts and their framework conditions, that I agree with, that they need to create an overall narrative of a just transition, where they need to help structural change in areas of coal production and so on. There need to be offers for workers and so on. We cannot solve every problem on the project level, and we also can't deal with that many more attributes that then people in the Foreign Office think up, if I say that so bluntly, right? So we have to manage that tension, and that's where I think a dialogue also between those people who build stuff and those people who talk about billions of support program is highly needed, and that's why we're here, by the way.
You mentioned the different heads of states and your function at BayWa, so I would like to know, how do you contribute to the global activity and the transition to making more wind power and solar power happen, and maybe also how do you benefit from the knowledge that you get from these different areas? Like, what is the involvement of BayWa when it comes to solar and wind energy for the Just Energy Transition Partnership?
Well, okay. So far, the Just Energy Transition Partnerships are active in 3 countries, right? South Africa, Indonesia, Vietnam. All 3 of which we are developing projects in none of which we have so far built anything big. Yeah, so we've been there a couple of years earlier before the partnerships, and we're still trying to get, to a success of actually having generated a green megawatt hour so far. We're on a good path. We have many of these dialogues with partners ongoing. So I think this is where we are the transmission mechanism to then actually put things there. We're already there, and we're now hoping that these partnerships are, a boost and help the overall political environment, because that's what it's needed. It's a difficult political environment in all these countries, partly because of large incumbents, old industries that have different interests, right? Or because of political systems where there is a lot of change, and where for investors like us or developers like us who have to convince investors that it's a good idea to invest in Africa, we need a stable and a reliable framework, and these partnership programs can help there. Yeah? But they never do the full job of actually enabling a micro-level project. For that, we need this optimism that you were referring to in the social media thing. Yeah, I mean, nobody who doesn't have optimism can do business in Africa. You need that. Yeah, and we have it. We believe that we can still make a difference, not for in terms of 1.5, but in terms of participation. And I think it is a question of justice also, that we are actively developing projects in Africa where, as Jennifer Morgan pointed out there's so much potential and so much good that can come out of these projects for the populations. So we absolutely have also an obligation to keep trying.
Thank you so very much. As Vice President of Solar Power Europe.